The only way I could see him resigning if he got super sick, really, really chronically ill. And even then, I think he might just, suffer it out to the end. I guess we'll find out. Now, the more interesting news or reports is that Pope Francis is toying with the idea of defining the role of Pope Emeritus. Pope Emeritus, for 2,000 years, is a complete novelty, does not exist. As I mentioned, you can see on the screen here, Pope Celestine, who's actually a saint. He abdicated the papacy, and he went back to his original name and his original vocation. He wanted to be a hermit, actually. And when he abdicated, he went back to his name, Pietro Angelario. Pietro Angelario. He wanted to be a hermit, but his successor, Pope Boniface VIII, which talk about a power-hungry pope. See, what's interesting is, I know people are probably already critical of me saying some of the things I did about Pope Francis, but what's interesting is you can go back and say Pope Boniface VIII was power-hungry and somewhat corrupt pope, and no one cares. Or you can say Pope Alexander VI was a bad pope, and no one cares. But if you say it about someone in recent history, people flip out and call you a schismatic. People say, oh yeah, it's so cool that Dante put popes in hell, like how artistic. But if you say anything like that in our time, you're schismatic. And I don't care what people think about me. So Pope Boniface VIII, who was a power-hungry pope, and I would say not one of the best popes of all time, he ordered Pietro Angelario, the previous pope who had abdicated, to come to Rome. But guess what? Pietro escaped and he hid in the woods so that he could resume his monastic life. Now, let me tell you something about Pietro Angelario. He was a former pope. He abdicated. He's a saint. He's a canonized saint. And he disobeyed the pope. So these post-trads are like, if you say anything negative about a pope or you disagree or whatever, if you don't like and submit to Traditionis Custodes, you are a schismatic. Well, tell me about this guy, Pope Saint Celestine, who was an abdicated pope who disobeyed and ran away and hid in the woods from the Pope, who ordered him to come to Rome. Anyway, it's a very sad ending to Pope Saint Celestine. This proved impossible, and Pietro was captured after an attempt to flee to Dalmatia was thwarted when a tempest forced his ship to return to port. Boniface imprisoned him in the castle of Fumone near Ferentino in Lazio, attended by 2 monks of his order, where Pietro died after 10 months at the age of 81. So what's interesting is if Pope Francis does issue a motu proprio or a document defining it's not an office, defining the role of Pope Emeritus. Now, emeritus in common parlance means former, ex. Like when you say he's Archbishop of Emeritus of St. Louis, it means he's the ex-bishop of St. Louis. He's no longer actually the ordinary of St. Louis. But when it comes to the papacy, it's confusing because when you say he's the Bishop Emeritus, we all know that if you're a bishop, you've been consecrated to that level of holy order, and that's an indelible reality in your soul. It doesn't go away. But the papacy is not an indelible reality. The papacy is an office. So you're not ordained or consecrated to the papacy. You're elected and you accept it, right? And then traditionally you are coronated, you are crowned as the Pope, but you're the Bishop of Rome. The ontological, metaphysical reality is that you are a bishop. The papacy is an office that you can accept upon election, or you can abdicate, as did Pope Saint Celestine, as we just learned about. The fact that Benedict XVI wears a white cassock, wears a ring, wears shoes, if that means anything, signs his name, Papa. I've even heard of someone in the United States who has a You know how you can get those certificates from Rome where the Pope blesses your marriage on like a 25th anniversary? Well, allegedly someone got one recently from Pope Benedict XVI, and it says Pope Papa blessing you on your 25th anniversary. It doesn't say Emeritus or anything. So somehow someone's getting their marriage blessed, a pontifical blessing on their marriage by Pope Benedict XVI, who supposedly is not the Pope anymore. This is confusing. It is not good. You can't have two popes. And using the language of Papa Emeritus is confusing. So there needs to be some kind of clarity here. Especially when you have the language from Pope Benedict and Archbishop Ganswein, talking about an active papacy and a passive papacy, or a contemplative papacy and an active papacy. It is confusing that he continues to use the name and use the costume of the Pope and the title of the Pope and give apostolic blessings as a Pope. When in the past, in the case of Celestine, when he abdicated the papacy, he went back to his baptismal name, Pietro Angelario, which would mean that if Benedict had actually followed the pattern of his predecessor, Celestine, he should have gone back the day after he resigned from the papacy to Joseph Ratzinger, or Archbishop Joseph Ratzinger. That would be reasonable, rational, and traditional, in accordance with tradition. Instead, what they did is they created a new role of Pope Emeritus. And what I think happened, I don't know if I've ever said this on a podcast, so I'm going to tell you what I think happened. I think they came to Pope Benedict in 2012 when he got the red binder. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the whole red binder and the controversy and the banking scandal and the butler leaking the documents and all that, it's all detailed in Infiltration, my book, Amazon.com, or get it directly from Sophia Press. I believe late in 2012, when he got the red binder and the banking scandal was going on, and Vigano had revealed to him all these problems, and the three cardinals had done their research, I think he was extremely stressed. I think he was overcome. And I think a group of cardinals and leaders went to Benedict XVI and said, if you're considering resigning the papacy, we support it. We believe that a conservative will be elected in your place, that the College of Cardinals that you've appointed is conservative, is more traditional. And we believe if you resign, that will move forward, and you can continue, Your Holiness, to be papal. We will continue to honor you as being papal. You wear the white cassock. We call you Pope. We call you Papa Emeritus. We'll call you Your Holiness. But if you abdicate, we can ensure that a conservative successor follows you, and we can continue the reform of the church, and you won't have to deal with it, but you'll still get the perks of being pontifical and being papal. That's what I've heard happen. That's what I think happened. With all the data points, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. But that is what I think happened in late 2012. And I think he was deceived. I think he didn't know that the St. Gallen Mafia had already stacked votes. We already know that ex-Cardinal McCarrick was out recruiting and campaigning for Bergoglio. So I think something rotten happened. And if I write another book, might call it Infestation, it's going to cover some of those details.